In the middle of the snowstorm outside Prescott headquarters, Noah spotted something shining beneath a bench. Sarah bent down and froze when she realized it was a diamond bracelet. Her son looked up at her and asked, "Is it worth enough for us to rent a home, Mom?" The clock showed that only 11 minutes remained before the interview that could determine whether mother and son would be allowed to stay in the temporary housing program. Earlier that morning at Harbor House, Maria had ironed Sarah's old suit and repaired the loose seam on one sleeve. "If you get this job, you will qualify to move into a supportive housing apartment," Maria said. Sarah nodded, trying to hide her worry. She and Noah had only 3 weeks left at the center, but she did not want him to begin such an important morning feeling like he was a burden. The snow caused their second bus to arrive late. Even after changing buses twice, they still had a chance to make it on time if they went straight into the lobby. Then they saw the bracelet lying in the snow. Sarah lifted it into the gray light. The clasp was broken, and the initials RP were engraved on the inside. Whoever had dropped it might still be somewhere near the plaza. Noah stared at the diamonds. "We could sell it and pay the person back later, after we have a home." Sarah did not scold him. She understood that he was only dreaming of a bedroom with enough space for his model train set. "If we sell it, we can never return the exact thing we took. Something that does not belong to us cannot become the foundation of a decent life." Noah remained quiet for a few seconds, then took his mother's hand. "Then we should give it to security." They ran into the lobby. Daniel Kim examined the bracelet, recorded that the clasp was broken, and completed property report number D417. He asked Sarah to wait so she could receive a reward if the owner was found. "I have an interview on the 21st floor. Please write down my name and the phone number for Harbor House. The owner can confirm the initials RP." Daniel looked at her visitor badge and added the time she had turned in the bracelet so there would be an explanation for her delay. Sarah thanked him and hurried away without asking how much the bracelet was worth. Above the security desk, a camera had recorded the entire exchange, including the moment she refused a reward. Maria waited in the public area to watch Noah. Before his mother entered the elevator, he handed her the folder containing her documents and said, "Just find out what the company is doing wrong." Sarah reached the reception desk 4 minutes late. Trent Wallace was already waiting. He looked at her snow-soaked shoes and worn suit before finally meeting her eyes. Sarah apologized for being late, but did not mention the bracelet. She did not want a good deed to become a reason to ask for special treatment. Trent opened her application. The tip of his red pen stopped at the Harbor House address. "Is this a homeless shelter?" "It is temporary housing for families. My son and I are living there during a transition period." Trent's attitude changed. He closed the folder and gave 3 reasons for rejecting her. She had arrived late, she had no permanent address, and she could not prove that she would be able to report to work consistently. "I have references, a record of strong performance, and a certification in warehouse operations," Sarah replied. "Please allow me to take the skills assessment like every other candidate." "This position involves medical supplies. The company cannot accept such significant personal instability." Helen Brooks walked past and recognized Sarah as one of the final candidates. "Why has the interview not started?" Trent said Sarah had failed to complete the residency verification requirement. Helen frowned. "An address is not part of the professional criteria. Human Resources has the authority to screen for risk before the operational assessment." That was Trent's opportunity to correct his mistake. He could have allowed Sarah to take the test and judged her by the results. Instead, He told the receptionist to cancel her visitor badge. As Sarah was leaving, she noticed a large poster for the Second Start program. The words beneath it made her stop. Talent has no address. "Does this program apply to someone like me?" she asked. Trent answered without hesitation. "Second Start is only for candidates who have already demonstrated stable readiness." Sarah looked at the poster, then at the man closing the door in front of her. She did not make a scene. Noah was waiting downstairs, and she did not want her son to watch his mother being turned into an object of pity. While Sarah was being escorted away from the interview area, Daniel compared the initials RP with the lost property records and contacted the office of the chief executive officer. On the executive floor, Abigail Prescott kept touching her bare wrist. The bracelet was the only keepsake her mother, Ruth Prescott, had left her. When Daniel brought it to her with report number D417, Abigail immediately recognized the broken clasp and the diamonds that had been reset from her mother's old jewelry. "Who found it?" Daniel handed her the report. "Sarah Collins. She refused a reward. She said she was rushing to an interview in this building." Abigail read the Harbor House address, the visitor badge number, and the time the bracelet had been turned in. Then she looked at the candidate list on her desk. Sarah Collins's name had just been crossed out in red ink. Abigail placed the diamond bracelet beside the red line and ordered Trent to come to the 21st floor. When he entered, Abigail looked directly at him. "You just rejected the woman who returned my mother's bracelet. Did you reject her because she was late? Or because you discovered that she did not have a home?" Trent tried to keep his voice calm. He said he had not known Sarah was the person who returned the bracelet, and that his decision had been based entirely on hiring standards. Abigail asked, "Which standard allows you to reject an applicant because she uses the address of a temporary housing center?" Trent flipped through the file but could not point to any official policy. Abigail did not order the company to hire Sarah. She instructed the team to restore her interview and remove every detail unrelated to job performance from the scoring sheet. To avoid a conflict of interest involving the bracelet, Abigail withdrew from the evaluation. Helen would oversee the assessment using the existing scoring system. That was Trent's second chance to accept a fair process. Instead, he told the panel that Sarah lived in temporary housing and was raising a young child, quietly casting doubt on whether she could report to work consistently. No other applicant was asked about the value of their home or who takes care of their children, Abigail said. That information cannot be used to measure professional ability. Daniel found Sarah near the elevators. She assumed he had come to escort her out, but instead, he returned her visitor badge. "Ms. Prescott has asked you to return to the interview room." When Sarah entered, she saw the bracelet temporarily repaired around Abigail's wrist. She immediately understood who owned it, but her relief quickly turned into concern. "If this interview is only a way to repay me, I cannot accept it." Abigail replied, "The fact that you returned the bracelet made me question the decision to reject you. It cannot answer the assessment questions for you." Sarah agreed to continue on one condition. She had to be judged by the same standards as every other applicant. In the operations simulation room, Helen displayed a scenario in which a snowstorm had disrupted transportation routes. 4 hospitals were waiting for dialysis supplies. The system showed that one truck had left the warehouse, but there was no temperature data. 2 records listed the same trailer number, and one shipment had been assigned to the wrong transfer point. Sarah did not rush to answer. She organized the information by time, then asked about the warehouse closing time, the driver's status, and the remaining supply at each hospital. "The weather is not the only problem," she said. "One scan was duplicated. The system believes the truck left the warehouse, but the shipment may still be in the staging area. Sarah recommended verifying the seal number in person, separating the urgent shipment, and rerouting it through the Aurora Distribution Center, which was still operating. The hospital with less than 12 hours of supplies remaining would receive priority, but no shipment would leave until the temperature records and chain of custody had been restored. Helen added another problem. The replacement driver had reached the legal driving limit. Sarah did not suggest forcing the driver to continue. She selected a backup carrier certified to transport medical supplies, even though that option would take longer. During her final review, Sarah realized she had failed to include the time needed to verify the temperature data. She stopped, corrected the plan, and explained how an additional 18-minute delay would affect each hospital. "You just lowered your speed score," Trent said. "Hiding a mistake would cost the patients far more." Helen completed the evaluation form. Under the existing scoring system, Sarah received the highest score among the 3 finalists. Her answer was not perfect, but she had identified the real cause, respected the legal driving limit, and corrected her own calculation. Trent still objected. Performing well on a test does not prove long-term stability. Sarah looked directly at him. "I am not asking the company to ignore my past. I can provide references, a record of strong performance, and a transportation plan. But where I sleep right now cannot replace all the evidence of my professional ability." Abigail asked Daniel to present property report number D417. Security footage showed Sarah finding the bracelet, turning it in, refusing a reward, and immediately leaving to attend her interview. Abigail thanked her, but emphasized that the hiring decision would be based on professional performance. While reviewing the score sheets, Helen noticed an unusual red mark on Sarah's application. She had been labeled ineligible before the assessment had even begun. Abigail ordered the team to open the Second Start program report. The report claimed that 19 people had been placed in jobs during the previous year. But when Helen compared the records, all 19 had entered through the company's regular recruiting process. Not one of them had ever lived in temporary housing. Then another troubling pattern appeared. A large number of applicants had been marked as having withdrawn voluntarily at nearly identical times. Daniel and the data team opened the system logs. 42 applications connected to supportive housing addresses had been closed before the interview stage. Most had been marked as voluntary withdrawals, even though there were no emails or phone records confirming that the applicants had withdrawn. The screen displayed the names of parents who had applied for jobs, the dates they submitted their applications, and the addresses of temporary housing centers circled in red. Every action used to close those applications led back to the same administrative account. The account belonged to Trent Wallace. Abigail looked at the line in the report that read, 42 applicants withdrew voluntarily, then turned toward him. Did every one of them truly walk away? Or were you the person who closed the door before they had a chance to enter? Before Trent could answer, Abigail suspended the hiring decision and separated Sarah's evaluation from the misconduct involving the Second Start program. Helen completed the score sheet without reviewing the bracelet report. Sarah ranked first in risk analysis and second in response speed. Abigail confirmed that the bracelet was the last keepsake she had from her mother. Sarah had returned it without knowing that its owner would be involved in her interview. Her honesty earned her the right to be evaluated fairly, Abigail said. Her ability is the reason she may be hired. Sarah received a conditional offer for the operations coordinator position, with the same salary, probation period, and requirements offered to any other candidate. She was not given a higher position or a special reward. I would like one day to review Noah's care schedule and my transportation options before I sign. Abigail agreed. Sarah wanted to be certain that she could meet the responsibilities over the long term, rather than accepting the offer in an emotional moment. The investigation team compared Trent's account activity, emails, withdrawal records, second start reports, and applications that had been marked in advance. Security footage, statements from reception staff, and unanswered letters from temporary housing centers were also preserved. During a video call, Maria confirmed that Harbor House had referred 11 qualified applicants, but had received only automated rejection emails. 2 other applicants also confirmed that they had never withdrawn their applications. Helen provided an email in which Trent ordered the team not to interview people with what he called transportation and family risks, even though those standards did not exist in company policy. Faced with the evidence, Trent admitted that he had closed the applications. He claimed that he had only been trying to protect employee retention rates and company operations. Abigail replied, "You are not being investigated for predicting risk. You are being investigated for turning assumptions into a hidden bias, then falsifying reports to conceal the results." Trent continued to argue that hiring people without stable lives could cause medical supplies to arrive late at hospitals. Sarah did not deny that people facing housing insecurity had real challenges. Then address transportation, childcare, and work schedules with practical solutions. Do not reject people before learning what they are capable of doing. During a meeting with human resources, operations, legal counsel, and community representatives, Abigail suspended Trent and froze his performance bonus. All 42 applications were reopened. Qualified applicants were invited to interview. Housing status was removed from the initial evaluation process, and the Second Start program was placed under independent oversight. Every false report had to be corrected. Abigail refused to turn the Bracelet story into a branding campaign or use Sarah in advertising without her permission. After the investigation, Trent was terminated for falsifying reports, applying standards that violated company policy, and obstructing the hiring program. The company did not hire all 42 applicants simply to create an impressive success story. Each application was evaluated again according to ability. 13 people reached the final stage, and 6 were hired for suitable positions. Sarah signed her contract after confirming that the shift worked with Noah's school schedule and that an alternative bus route was available. Maria helped her enroll Noah in an after-school care program. Sarah used the salary advance available to every Second Start employee and accepted no special privileges. Sarah and Noah moved into a small, supportive housing apartment. It was not a home purchased for them by Abigail. It was a place Sarah qualified to rent through her income and the transitional housing program. Noah placed his model train set on a table beside the window. Inside a keepsake box, he kept a copy of receipt D417, proof that his mother had chosen to return the one thing that might have helped them escape poverty faster. 6 months later, Sarah was still working as an operations coordinator at the distribution center. She had to study medical systems and transportation regulations. She was not promoted simply because of the Bracelet story. During a major snowstorm, Sarah discovered that the priority codes for 2 hospitals had been reversed. She did not change the data on her own. She reported the issue to Helen, verified the chain of custody, and worked with the entire team to correct it. Helen noted that Sarah had not only found the mistake, but had also created a process to prevent it from happening again. Abigail visited the distribution center wearing the bracelet, now repaired with a new clasp. "I still have not thanked you enough," she said. Sarah smiled. "The bracelet helped you notice me, but this job gave me the chance to show everyone what I can do." Abigail admitted that the incident had also forced her to take a closer look at the company she had built. At the end of the day, Sarah sat on the other side of an interview table. Across from her was a new applicant from Harbor House. Sarah did not lower the standards, and she did not ask where the person slept at night. Her first question was, "Tell me about a problem you solved when you did not have enough resources." The diamond bracelet might have helped Sarah rent a home for a few months, but honesty and a fair opportunity helped her rebuild her entire life. A person's value is not found on their wrist, in their address, or in the clothes they wear. It is revealed through the choices they make when no one has promised them a reward. What would you have done in Sarah's place if the bracelet could have given your child a home that very night? Would you have had the courage to return it? Share your thoughts and continue following Stewart's stories, stories of love, hope, and justice.